Again, you should never do this before a ride. As in, I legit, pagka yung bike nyo walang problema, huwag nyo dagdagan ng problema in the day of the ride. Like, I swear, I've had so many times na I woke up very early in the morning of a ride and I decided, oh, I'm gonna put this new part on, oh, I'm gonna put my new tires on, oh, I'm gonna put my new brakes on. It's never a good idea. Just ride your bike. Or if you're going to do any changes, make sure you've already broken it in, you've made sure that it's safe and that it won't fail. I would have a really bad time if it did. So, good morning. Balik muna tayo gulong. So, we'll start with the front wheel. No, get out, Sasha. So, it's the morning. I should be out riding, but I decided that it's much safer and much wiser if I do this sooner rather than later. So, I'm going to show you how to take a tire off without any tools because honestly, you don't really need any. But, you know, there are some wheel and tire combinations that do require tools that are a bit tougher to fit. So what you saw me just do is I just unseated the bead of the tire to the rim, doing this full circle, going back to the pin. So what we want to do once we get back to the pin, where you inflate the tire, we're gonna slowly just compress it, pull it close to the rim, so that when we get to the other side, we are left with that excess amount, which we just conveniently push out. And just like that, we've removed the tire with the interior of the rim. We're going to grab one of the tires. These are gum wall tires. They're fairly new. They're a friend's tire that he didn't really like the look of the gum wall tires. I, however, have a classic bike at the moment, and the gum wall tires are sure to be a hit. I'm just gonna choose which one is the better one, and I'm going to put that in the front so I see that this is the better one. So we're now gonna check for the rotation and orientation of the tire. That's very important, as I'm not familiar with this brand of tire. Most local mechanics will tell you that they don't really care about the rotation. I do, however. So we're just gonna try and find the markings that tell us rotation. You want to keep in mind also what are the requirements of the tire. So recommended pressure is 100 psi for this tire, or 6.8 bar depending on where you live. Max pressure is 135 psi and 9.3 bar. I fortunately have both gauges on my pump. For this tire, it actually has arrows for both directions, so it's a non-directional tire design, meaning you can mount it any way. It can go this way and that way and will not have any issues with its ability to grip and to stop you. So we want to just do a check for any sharp objects that may be left in the middle of it, in the tire. Another rule that I'd like you guys to follow is that you want to put this is the branding. The branding should go where the pin is for. Put the branding where the inflation hole for the rim is. I know the internet will be quick to correct me with the inflation hole term, but where the hole is in your rim, that's where you want to put the center of the decal of the tire. This helps when you're trying to look for a puncture or trying to look for whatever popped your tire. This is a good reference point for where you can start doing your patches or start inspecting for whatever it is that took out your tire. Since we're putting it back on, we're just putting it one bead at a time. The interior will need to be placed in a bit later. So same thing as earlier. So at the part where the inflation hole is, you want to keep that as tight as it can be, so that over here at the top you have as much room to put the tire in toollessly as so. So now that we put one side in, we're gonna put in the interior of the tire. Please excuse my cat. She's in heat and has been in heat for the past, how many days, Sasha? 3. Horny cat. So right off the bat, I can tell you that I think this is quite a tight fit of a tire. It just feels like it's a bit smaller because it's still fairly new and there's some tightness that goes on with having a new tire. So we're just gonna tuck that interior into the tire. Again, once you've gone all the way around, you can then start to put in the other side of the bead. So some of you may be quick to point out that I should have inflated the tire a little more. That's true to some extent. Just slowly roll it. Being careful not to pinch the interior inside. So when you see the interior and being stretched, just mitigate by massaging that. If any of you, my viewers, are cat people, please tell me what to do with my cat. So dahil paninindigan natin yung pagtutulyas natin. What the f*** is this? Okay, tire levers. This is what I need. Make sure that you don't pinch the rubber. I kinda see why Mark doesn't like these tires. There we go. Just like that. The thing about these tight fits is sometimes you do accidentally place the bead and the interior between each other. So you just want to make sure that that's not the case. When you do see a point where the interior is seated right on the bead, you just want to rock that interior back and forth towards you and outwards, just to get that interior right in the middle of the tire. So I tell you, this may seem like the longer process, but I can assure you this is the better practice. You don't want to be inflating a tire with the interior seated on the bead of the rim. That gets pretty bad real quick. With the front tire done, when you're doing these changes, I suggest you do these changes inside of a floor pump. I wouldn't want to be doing these repairs using a hand pump. So with just barely any air on it, less than 10 psi, we're gonna inspect again, making sure that there's no side that has that interior popping out. I've had incidents before where I've inflated the tire up to 120 psi with the interior unfortunately still on the side of the rim. So since it's all good, we've checked it out, made sure that there is no. So there, that's the bead. If you heard that pop, that's the bead seating into the rim. So I kind of like overinflating the first time so that I can let the bead sit. So just 120. Just like that, we have our gum wall tires installed on our Fulcrum Racing 6s. I'm very happy with the install. It was a bit tough, but since this is a new tire, I understand that. That looks very good to me. I'm definitely changing the rear ones. So, general rule, put in the smallest cog. Then, open. Then the same boring process of deflating the tire. Okay, so, tire out. From the valve stem hole, push down on it now, pulling up against the valve stem hole, creating the gap, and just like that, removing the interior and the tire easily off the rim. I've been able to put the tires on without pre-inflating the interior, which is actually a wrong thing to do. You want to start with something pre-inflated, something with air in it, so that it's less likely to pinch. So again, we're gonna do a inspection so that we don't have those bullshit moments where I just put on a tire and it deflates itself or it punctures itself. You can see I'm already building up a sweat. Again, the decal on the wheel, valve stem cover. Again, there's no direction. These are the Innova Pro face mount. Interior, insert the valve stem in the valve stem hole. Well, my friends, because sila sanay mag 5 AM ride out, so it's 8 AM ride out for them. Let's just say I have a lot of time in my hands. just did a mortal sin there where I had the interior resting on the tire lever's back, which is a no-no. You don't want to be pinching the interior in these scenarios. As you can see, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get this interior off the bead. Just massage that interior in. Yeah, so home stretch, home stretch. So I don't see any problems with the interior pinching. The bead of the tire looks to be properly in line with the bead of the rim. So we're gonna now proceed to inflation. So 120 points more. Perfect, right, kitty? Alright, gum all's fitted. Wash my hands then. Put on shoes and let's get out of here. Boom, hindi ka pala nag-record, no? So, I was saying, the worst has happened. Paalis na ako. Naka-helmet na ako and everything. When I walked my bike out, ngayon walang hangin. Good thing, meron pa rin residual air sa loob. So it's not a gaping hole. It didn't explode. However, it is still a puncture. I hate this. Now I have to find what punctured it in the first place. Kaya ba inong tools? Kaya. So feeling ko sa pagmamadali ko, visual inspection, and I think there's our culprit right there. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but our rim tape has pushed to the side on multiple fronts. So we're gonna have to get something to push that to the side. Out. We need tools. Because we need to pry out this. Why don't I check this? Yung mga bagay na people neglect to check. So to fix this, simply just unseating the rim tape. This is the bad kind of rim tape. Ang bobo naglagay, no? Is this glued in? No. So I'm gonna fix them up anyway because I can't ride this tape. Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. So we now have electrical tape. Very good to have this in the house. You'll always be able to use it somewhere. Pair of scissors because you don't want to be pulling on that electrical tape. So the rim tape was installed badly. I didn't see this before. I should have. But I've managed to have not a lot of flats since I got this. Actually, I haven't had a flat since I've gotten this. So we got run-of-the-mill electrical tape, and we're just gonna tape up these holes that the spokes go through have not been properly sealed with the rim tape. So the rim tape is it's a tape. It's a plastic tape. Keeps the interior safe from the sharp edges of the rim hole, so it just avoids puncture. If you improperly seat it or improperly install it, not doing its job, not covering the holes of the rim, we actually haven't checked the tire itself, but I suspect this is it. I actually want to do the fronts as well, but so I've been able, yeah. So I've been able to do a lot of magic with the electrical tape in cycling. I use it on trainers. If you have trainers and you feel na parang I'm regularly wearing down tires, I'm flat spotting my premium Continental GP 4000, GP 5000, whatever thousand it is now, tire on the rollers. So what I did was I got myself some good old fashioned electrical tape and I simply put a layer. So we're gonna have to check now because I didn't get it all the way through. I wanna know where the puncture point is. Malay mo, hindi pala dun. Malay mo, meron palang matalas dun sa loob ng tire na bago. So, right now, it's holding air. Okay? So, it's holding air. Ayun pala, pito yung problema. opposite end, inner side, opposite end of the valve, and the inner side. So we're gonna remove this for a while. So that's why we orient the valve stem and the tire itself, so that when we're looking for punctures and puncture points, so you have one which is a proper hole. Damn it, Mark. Kaya pala ayaw mo tong gulong na to. May bubog sa loob, man. Talagang wala kang makapala sa ganitong gulong. So that's one out. Is it that one that made a hole? I'm not so sure, it's not in the right place. So it means there could be more of these. But it's better to do this now than on the ride. So we were able to find one bubog. It's in those, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but thank God this is a gum wall tire. If this was black, that would be much harder to do. So I'm not gonna bother patching this up because I'm not in the mood to patch shit up anymore. Shit, so I'm really late to ride. So you have to be careful now since you have this electrical tape on there. They're not very good at being pulled or being stretched out, so just be careful with them. Make sure that they stay where they need to be. So that stretching has really worked a great deal on the tire. So the stretching would be the inflating to 130 psi and leaving it there for quite a while to stretch out. Subscribe to my channel, guys, kung enjoy nyo itong pagdurusa ko na nakita nyo yung bad trip na ako dito sa ginagawa ko. Then please like this video and don't forget subscribe dahil marami pang ganito kasi alam nyo naman madalas fina-flat ang arawan. May ganon. So galing, stretch out natin siya dun sa pag-air natin sa kanya, 120 psi. So, I'm gonna air that down a bit so that we can check. The bead is sat and that the interior is not pinched. So we're gonna have to go to the bike shop. Because, dahil pwedeng walang interior. Lalo na, at bagong gulong natin. Again, you should never do this before a ride. As in, like legit. Pagka yung bike nyo walang problema, huwag nyo dagdagan ng problema in the day of the ride. Like I swear, I've had so many times na I woke up very early in the morning of a ride and I decided, oh, I'm gonna put this new part on, oh, I'm gonna put my new tires on, oh, I'm gonna put my new brakes on. It's never a good idea. Just ride your bike. Or if you're going to do any changes, make sure you've already broken it in, you've made sure that it's safe and that it won't fail. I would have a really bad time if it did. Okay, 110. Okay, always remember, cap. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here.
Aunin natin to.